Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible underdog stories in sports history, a true David versus Goliath tale from the world of handball. Get ready for a story of resilience, belief, and pure sporting drama. This is the story of how the tiny Faroe Islands, a nation making its debut on the world stage, took on the handball giants of Spain and pulled off the impossible. The stage was set at the World Championship in Trier, Germany. In one corner, you have Spain, the 2019 silver medalists. A team with a rich history and a squad brimming with talent, even with 8 debutantes of their own. In the other corner, you have the Faroe Islands, a nation with a population of just over 50,000, making their very first appearance at a senior world championship for either men or women. This was uncharted territory. Both teams had a shaky start to the tournament. Spain had scraped a win against Paraguay and the Faroe Islands had lost to Montenegro. So, going into this match, nobody really knew what to expect, but most predictions heavily favored the Spanish side. As the game began, the Faroes showed they weren't just there to make up the numbers. They surprisingly took an early lead, going up 4-3 in the 9th minute. They were capitalizing on Spain's uncharacteristic mistakes, but then, the Spanish machine kicked into gear in a brutal 5-minute spell. Spain rattled off for unanswered goals, turning the game on its head and forcing the Faroes to call a timeout. Now trailing 7-4, at this point, things looked bleak for the debutantes. Their goalkeeper, Rakel Wardum, hadn't managed a single save. Their attack was struggling, converting only about a third of their chances. It felt like the dream was already starting to fade. But the Faroes coaches, Claus Leif Mogensen and Simon Olsen, had a trick up their sleeve. They decided to gamble, employing a risky 7-on-6 attacking strategy. This means they'd pull their goalie to get an extra attacker on the court. It's high risk, high reward, because it leaves your own net completely empty. And at first, the risk didn't seem to pay off. They conceded a few easy goals into their empty net. But they stuck with it, and slowly, the tide began to turn. The impressive Jana Mitten, a star in the making, started finding the back of the net, and suddenly, the Faroes were right back in it, closing the gap to just 1 goal at 9-8. They even had a chance to equalize, but a crucial turnover under pressure allowed Spain to breathe again, extending their lead to 10-8. Then came a moment that could have shattered their spirit completely. In the final minute of the first half, the Faroes were trailing 13-11. They had the ball, a chance to go into the break just 1 goal down. Goalkeeper Rakel Wardum tried to launch a quick counterattack with a long throw, but the pass was misplaced, intercepted. In a flash, Spain raced down the court and scored right on the halftime buzzer. Instead of 13-12, the scoreboard read 14-11, a 3-goal deficit. As the halftime whistle blew, a dejected Wardum went straight down the tunnel. She had a tough first half, a save rate of just 18%. And that final mistake was a heavy burden to carry. For any player, especially a debutante, that kind of moment can be crushing. You'd be forgiven for thinking her night was over, that the coach might make a change. But this is where the story takes a turn. This is where the Faroe spirit truly ignited. The coaches showed incredible faith in their young keeper. When the second half started, Rakel Wardum was right back between the posts. This single act of trust, of believing in a player when they're down, would pay dividends beyond their wildest dreams. The Faroe Islands came out of the locker room like a completely different team. They were on fire. They launched a blistering start to the second half, and within just 6 minutes, they had erased the 3-goal deficit. The captain, Pernille Brandenborg, stepped up to take a crucial 7-meter penalty shot. She scored. The game was tied 16-all. The Spanish coach, Ambrose Martin, was stunned. He was forced to call an early timeout to try and stop the bleeding. The atmosphere in the arena was electric. All the traveling Faroes fans were packed behind the Spanish goal, and their roar was deafening. The second half was an exhilarating, back-and-forth battle. Both teams traded blows, each taking the lead only to see the other claw it back. The game was on a knife's edge. As we entered the final quarter of the match, the score was tied again, 20-20. This was the moment of truth. Spain, the experienced powerhouse, started to pull away. They threatened to build a decisive 3-goal lead with just 5 minutes left on the clock. It felt like the fairy tale was about to have a heartbreaking ending. But the Faroes had two secret weapons, their relentless 7-on-6 attack, which continued to puzzle the Spanish defense, and their reborn goalkeeper, Rakel Wardum. She was a wall. Shot after shot, she denied the Spanish attackers, keeping her team's dream alive. Then, with just 2 minutes remaining, history beckoned. The phenomenal Jana Mitten, who had been a thorn in Spain's side all game, found a gap and fired the ball into the net. The Faroe Islands were ahead, 26-25. The tiny section of Faroes fans erupted. Could they hold on? The final minute was pure, unadulterated tension. The Faroes had the ball but couldn't find a clear shot to extend their lead. Spain got the ball back. This was their chance to equalize, to save themselves from a historic upset. Their star player, Lisa Chapchik-Gassama, found an opening and took the shot. But standing in her way was Raquel Wardum. In the biggest moment of the game, she made the save. Her 15th of the night, and by far the most important. With the clock ticking down, the Faroe Islands launched one final attack. The ball found its way back to Jana Mitten. You could feel the collective breath of everyone in the arena. With just 6 seconds left, she fired the ball home. Goal, 27 to -25. It was over. The Faroe Islands had done it. The final buzzer sounded, and the scene was one of pure joy and disbelief. The Faroes players mobbed each other, celebrating on the court. Raquel Wardum, the player who went into halftime dejected, was now the hero, lifted into the air by her ecstatic teammates. They had not just competed, they had defeated one of the world's best teams. The player of the match was awarded to their captain, Pernille Brandenborg, for her leadership and crucial goals. But every single player in that white and blue jersey was a hero. They showed the world what can be achieved with courage, teamwork, and an unbreakable belief in one another. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. A tiny island nation announced its rival on the world stage in the most dramatic fashion possible. It's a reminder of why we love sports. On any given day, with enough heart and fight, the impossible can become possible. What an incredible story! It just goes to show you should never ever give up. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story of a legendary underdog victory, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing sports stories. We'll see you in the next one.